Good morning, Hidden Pearl Podcast fans, friends, and followers, and family. I'm going to think of another F one of these days, but all good. Mindful Monday for the week, and so just wanted to share some kind of ongoing thoughts. I think I might have talked about this a little bit before, but just wanted to share it again. Sitting outside. Just the notion, kind of the reflexiveness or the analogy between mindfulness and gardening. So I don't know if any of you are gardeners. I've had a few periods in my life where I got to garden. Haven't always stuck with it, but there's a little bit of a sense to that. So just a couple of steps here, maybe just something to think about as a reference point. And I guess the purpose is to instill one, an appreciation that it's kind of about practice and doing things every day and just sticking with it. And the second is having patience, both with yourself and the practice and maybe life in the world. So anyway, so gardening. So, if we're going to do something, we got to prepare the soil. So what does that mean for mindfulness? So in that kind of capacity, I think mindfulness is about getting back to the practice, so it's just about the tools that you need, and so you got to gather your tools up, and so that of course is about meditation, about mindfulness. It's possibly about adding yoga or some kind of movement meditation, but finding something that works within your system, so you are every day tapping into and developing the tools that you need in order to be successful. And then when you actually take your tools out into the field, it's partly about turning the soil over and weeding it. And of course, that's the process in mindfulness where we are aware of our thoughts, aware of our emotions, and we're holding space for them. And we're trying to just deal with them without judgment. So again, being patient with yourself. So we prepare the soil. The second are kind of putting the seeds in the ground. And so, what are the seeds of mindfulness? Well, once we have our tools and we're kind of paying attention to those kind of things, a lot of times that's about kind of value alignment, having a vision about where you want to go, having a purpose, doing the work that, and when we've talked about the 4 stages of the self, that's knowing the self. So you understand, who am I and what do I care about? Where am I going? So struggling and wrestling with some of those kind of questions. So you plant those seeds into the ground, and then of course we have to tend to the seeds. So we got to water it. And we got to weed and do all those kind of things. And so what is that? Well, watering it, of course, is, again, go back to the practice. So it's paying attention to then how are we living our life in alignment with those values, with those stated goals. And to the extent that there are things in our life or people that are distracting us, that are pulling away from the vision and goals that we have for ourselves, or make it more difficult to live our values in the way that we want to, those are some things that we have to weed out and protect the seeds from. And so that has to be a deliberate process, and it's certainly not accidental. Then we also have to fertilize. And so I think fertilizing, we think about water and fertilizer, putting whatever, cow poop on or whatever they do in the gardening situation. But, the fertilization, I think, comes with, at times, surrounding yourself with people that can support you on your journey. And there are people, okay, and if it's not your family or your immediate friends, there are groups, there are those things out there. And so just encouraging you to find that support that you need for your journey, and kind of taking care of it. And then of course, after then we just have to kind of sit patiently. And there's that process in gardening, and it's also true in mindfulness. So sometimes we don't really feel like there's a lot going on, and like the garden, you can't always see the growth that transpires day by day, little inch by inch, but it's taking place. And so being patient with yourself, giving it time to percolate, fertilize, and do all those kind of things with your own practice, and just staying with the practice, continue to develop your tools, and trust in the practice that, there is no big aha, wow, this is, there's a few moments like that once in a while, but a lot of it is just learning how to sit quietly, aware of your thoughts, aware of your emotions, and then being willing to explore it. So once we've sat and the growth that takes place, then there's the harvest, right? Okay. And, often in meditation, it's not some huge, bouquet of vegetables or whatever, or flowers or whatever, but the harvest does come over time when we're able to look back and find within kind of a calm, centered nature, a way in which we realize suddenly that our thoughts are just thoughts and that we don't have to follow them and we can change them, that our emotions are just emotions and that they're neither good nor bad, but they just are. And then we can intentionally live in that pause, and that's the harvest, is making intentional choices about how we want to live. So here's to having a great week and not overthinking it. Trust the process, stay in practice, and again, just encouragement to be gentle with yourself and share a little bit of love and kindness out there in the world, because we know we need it, all of us. Me too. So I'm all working on that as well. So anyway, I hope all you guys are great. I hope you have a great week. So you can play with this analogy a little bit with the garden, and I hope it works for you. And wishing you a very mindful week, again, full of love, kindness, and healing in whatever ways you need it. Thank you.